When Henry Sullivan traded city noise for a quiet cabin in the Montana Rockies, he thought he'd found peace. But when drones buzzed overhead, stakes marked his land, and strangers showed up with clipboards and smug smiles, Henry realized peace came with a fight. Some lines aren't just drawn theory defended with steel. My name is Henry Sullivan. I'm 52, a retired Forest Service officer who spent 25 years herding campers, chasing poachers, and dodging bureaucrats who'd never touched a pine. I'd had enough of people, so I sold my place in Bozeman, bought 15 acres of rugged freedom in the Rockies, and settled into a creaky cabin with a wood stove older than my dad. My mutt, Rusty, loved the open space, chasing squirrels like they owed him money. At night, I'd sip whiskey on the porch, the stars sharp, the silence pure. No traffic, no neighbors, no homeowners associations. Or so I thought. Trouble started small. Rusty growled at the sky one evening, and I spotted a dronious sleek, white thing hovering above my pines. It lingered, then zipped off. Odd, but I figured it was some kid's toy. The next day, another drone, closer, buzzing my clearing. Rusty tore after it, barking like a banshee. A few days later, I found neon green stakes along my dirt road, planted every 10 feet, leading right to my mailbox. I yanked them up, tossed them in my shed, and started paying attention. Then came the hikers. 2 guys in khakis parked near my fence, snapping photos with long lenses. Another time, a couple in matching fleece vests stood by my gate, whispering and pointing at my propane tank. This wasn't sightseeing, was scouting. The final straw was a crisp envelope taped to my gate, sporting the logo of Pine Ridge HOA. The letter, addressed to adjacent property resident, demanded a voluntary environmental compliance inspection and listed a date. It was signed by President Laura Bennett. I don't do voluntary, and I sure as hell wasn't in their HOA. I fired back a letter, citing Montana property law, attaching my deed, and stating I'd never join their club. I mailed copies to the HOA, the county recorder, and the Gallatin County Sheriff's Office, just to cover my bases. That should have ended it. But folks who tape letters to your gate aren't asking theory warning. The next morning, I was up with coffee, eyeing the tree line. Rusty's ears twitched toward the road. By noon, I was walking my property with a can of orange spray paint, joined by my old friend Tom, a land surveyor with a chip on his shoulder bigger than mine. We confirmed my boundaries, and those green stakes? Planted 3 feet inside my line. That's no mistake, Tom grunted. That's a grab. We marked every violation, took photos, and logged GPS data like we were building a case for the Supreme Court. Tom wished me luck and drove off, leaving me with a stack of evidence and a bad feeling. That night, a new drone appeared silent, with a red beacon. It hovered near my bedroom window. Rusty went nuts. I stepped onto the porch with my Remington 870 and a 20,000 lumen flashlight, blasting the drone's lens. It jerked back and fled. I shut my curtains and slept lightly. By morning, another envelope waited, this one sharper. Due to my failure to cooperate, Pine Ridge HOA scheduled a mandatory site visit for Tuesday, 9 a.m. I called the number listed. A curt voice answered, Pine Ridge Association. I said, this is Henry Sullivan. Stop taping crap to my gate. A pause. Mr. Sullivan, President Bennett has authorized an inspection under our expanded zoning policy. I cut her off. I'm not in your HOA. Step on my land, you're trespassing. Another pause. Cooperation is in your best interest. I laughed. Try me. Bring a lawyer. I hung up, drafted a cease and desist letter, and sent copies to the HOA, the sheriff, and my cousin in Missoula, who's a lawyer and owes me a favor. Tuesday dawned too quietly. Rusty paced the porch. At 8:45, tires crunched gravel. A black SUV with Pine Ridge HOA's logo rolled up, followed by a pickup with 2 security types in tactical vests. Out stepped Laura Bennett, fleece vest emblazoned with her HOA crest, her face all business. A lanky guy with a clipboard and an environmental officer badge followed. Then the 2 guards, one clutching a walkie-talkie like it was a gun. Laura marched forward. Good morning. We're here for the inspection. I leaned against the doorframe, Remington across my chest, not aimed, just there. I sent 3 refusals. You're trespassing. Laura sighed like I was a naughty kid. Mr. Sullivan, we've notified the county of your noncompliance. This is for community safety. I didn't blink. No community here. Just me, Rusty, and a bear that raids my trash. The clipboard guy started snapping photos of my generator. One guard poked my shed's lock. Rusty bare teeth. Back off, I said loudly. Laura waved at the guard. Routine, Mr. Sullivan. We have complaints about fuel storage and visual clutter. I stepped off the porch. That froze them. 3 seconds to leave. 1. The guard stumbled backward. 2. Laura's eyes widened. This is official. 3. The clipboard guy bolted, dropping his tablet. One guard tripped over the gravel. Laura stood a second longer, then ran as I racked the shotgun empty, but she didn't know. They peeled out, leaving dust and a cracked tablet. Rusty chased the cloud, then sat beside me, proud. I grabbed the tablet, still recording my porch, and saved the footage. An hour later, Laura called, voice shaking. Mr. Sullivan, we're reporting you for brandishing a firearm. I said, you trespassed with armed goons and tried breaking into my shed. Sheriff's on speed dial. I hung up and called Deputy Carter, who arrived with Sergeant Lee. I handed over my deed, cease and desist letters, photos, and the tablet. We watched the footage, Laura's team ignoring my warnings, poking my shed, then fleeing. Carter shook his head. You didn't aim. You're on your land. They're trespassers. Lee took the evidence. They parked on your survey markers. Hell of a day. I pointed to my crushed tulips. Not sentimental, but that's my dirt. Then, Pine Ridge went dirty. They mailed letters to their residents, calling me a dangerous armed recluse. A Facebook page, Safe Pine Ridge, posted a blurry shot of me with the shotgun. They filed a county complaint, claiming I stored fuel unsafely and fired guns illegally. A code enforcement officer showed up, confused but polite. I showed him my clean generator, state-approved septic, and locked gun safe. He whistled, tighter than my boss's place. He hinted the complaint screamed HOA. I hired Rachel Coleman, a property rights lawyer who'd gutted HOAs before. She flipped through my evidence and grinned. They're sloppy. Let's hit back. Rachel filed a countersuit for trespassing, harassment, defamation, and interfering with my property rights. She tipped off a Missoulian reporter, and the story, Lone Rancher versus HOA land grab, went viral. Locals emailed me their own HOA nightmares. A veterans group offered support. A state senator asked me to testify on HOA overreach. Pine Ridge didn't quit. New stakes appeared, tied to a shady survey firm. Rachel dug up a fake Pine Ridge community project filing, trying to rezone my land. I stormed the county assessor's office with my documents. Clerk Bud, a grizzled vet, confirmed no legal order existed. He flagged the filing as fraud, and the county issued a letter affirming my land's autonomy. We published it beside a Missoulian follow-up. HOA's fake borders crushed. Laura's next move was a county compliance inspection, triggered by her backdoor pull. I hired 3 independent auditors, who certified my land as pristine. When the county team arrived, Laura, tagging along, handed over the reports and filmed with a GoPro. The lead inspector, trained by my auditor, shut Laura down. This isn't your show, ma'am. She checked my setup, nodded. You're clear. No hazards. Laura fumed. This isn't over. I stepped closer. Careful. Last time you threatened me, you ran. She stormed off. The inspector smirked. Run for county board? I said, only if I can chair with a shotgun. Laura's final play was a lawsuit, accusing me of emotional assault, theft, the tablet, defamation, and blocking environmental oversight. They demanded an easement through my land. Rachel laughed. They're begging to lose. In court, Laura's team painted me as a paranoid loner, using edited drone clips. Rachel countered with full footage, the sheriff's apology, my audits, and a county memo proving Pine Ridge's fake filings. The judge was livid. This court doesn't tolerate legal abuse for land grabs. He dismissed their claims, awarded me $275,000 for trespassing, defamation, and costs, issued a restraining order, and ordered an HOA audit. My land was declared HOA-free permanently. Laura was ousted as president. Her replacement, a young lawyer, sent an apology, promising no further contact. I framed it. Rusty and I returned to the cabin. The air smelled of cedar and quiet. I hung a sign at my gate, private property. No trespassing. HOA-free. Cameras on, guns loaded. This fight wasn't just my night's every American's right to hold their ground. What do you think? Was I too harsh, or did Laura's HOA deserve it? Should force meet force when justice is at stake? Share your take in the comments. Let's hear your stand on violence and fairness in today's world.